Your Michigan State Spartans are 3 and one more player just went down with an injury. You're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm Mike Jones, joined as always by the pod's positivist, Alex Plum, and not by the noted negativist, Kevin Greck, who is questioning whether he should have returned from the West Coast on Friday. Alex, it's good to see you, buddy.
Hi. God, it's been too many weeks I've been away, and I want to apologize to all of the listener who...
Beth Amaro.
Yeah, Beth Amaro is the only one I had in mind who will miss me. And to everyone else, fuck off. I'm back. Ha ha. Good to be here.
Did you have a lovely time?
I did, yes. Between assisting my husband with his bad back and what else was I doing? Travel. We were in California. Various things keeping me away, but back home from Chicago today and plenty of time to get ready to come hard for this game.
Okay. Well, we're going to thank everyone, of course, for listening. And if we could ask a small favor, please share the pod with Spartans in your life. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And of course, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod or Blue Sky at Spartan Pod. Plum, what are we doing this week?
Well, we will talk about football. We're leading off with football, which is what always leads behind the green wall. We've got upsides, we've got downsides, and we've got side to sides to think about as we reflect on a 45-31 loss at the hands of the Trojans of Southern California. It's grind week of basketball. And then we're going to talk a little off Grand River about some happenings throughout the NCAA as they consider eliminating a spring transfer portal window and reflect on
they did.
Yeah, sorry. And then reflect on the silliness happening with Wofford before, of course, we preview this bye week, a week we couldn't possibly lose. Before taking your questions.
We've said those words before.
I know, it has haunted us.
And then, what was it? Joe Bocci with Adderall? Season over? Oh, my God.
Oh, God help us all.
All right. Let's dig into MSU's covering of the spread, but ultimately a loss 45-31 to USC at the Coliseum. And Plum, I like that you've normally we would go offense, defense, special teams. But I like that it works, crafted this into upsides and downsides. And I think for those who say we're a little too demand excellency on this podcast, you might be surprised that we're not quite as sky is falling as maybe some out there are. But let's start on the upside. Michigan State does put 31 points up on USC. And I think it's fair to say if we're comparing defenses, they had some dudes on that side of the ball. That was not a bad defense that we just played.
No, this was, in fact, a very, very good defense. And we'll talk a little bit about what the challenges are to the O-line in a moment. But I want to just start with credit to Aiden Childs. You will know, and listeners of this pod will know, that I have not been high on Aiden. I think I have called him mid at best, and that any upside we're going to get out of him this season is going to just be, upper mid. But I think he showed us upper mid this week at USC, and I have not done enough to give him credit, and credit is probably due here. There was some of the same stuff that we've seen. I still think he gets a little tunnel vision. I still think that he fails to quite get himself out of the pocket in times when he could avoid a little scramble. Obviously, the kid knows how to run. There were some early opportunities in the first half. I thought he could have done that a little bit better. But my God, he made some passes that were quite impressive. He picked up a fuck ton of yards scrambling. I don't know, what were his total rushing yards? Was he leading?
He was
31 rushing yards, 212 passing yards, and obviously 3 passing touchdowns for the game. And that is exceptional for him, particularly because their defense was so good that we could barely run the ball as a team. And so having to rely on him extra at 11 o'clock at night Eastern time ending at 2:30 Eastern time.
Three.
Almost 3.
Yeah.
That really has to count for something. Credit to him, Lindgren, the play calling there. I thought that they made it interesting. It certainly was a competitive game, despite not feeling morally, internally to me, like a competitive game. It ended up being a competitive game, and that is exclusively because of Aiden Child's leadership. So I really probably this is going to be the nicest thing I'll say about him all season, but this was great.
I think if the one thing that I would just sort of add to, I appreciated that Jonathan Smith talked very briefly about this in his press conference, but in the third quarter, Mekhi Frazier did ultimately find he began to be able to run the ball. And it sounds like at halftime they made some adjustments on the as it relates to their run game that ended up being pretty effective, which was great to see. But you needed more of that earlier. Look, I think we can both say that we were pleased with how the offense played in that. That was a good game. But you can also say that if they did more, we would have been more in the game. And so, early on there were too many instances where points didn't get on the board.
Right.
To your point, that was I think a big consequence of failure to run the ball.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the game, when it was sort of winning time, if you will, there were just a couple plays that we just didn't make. I'm with you. Aiden Childs played a great game. Aiden Childs played a great game last week. I think we are moving into a place where, he's upper. You called him upper mid. I think maybe that's still a little derogatory for the trend we're seeing now.
Fine. Keep trending, motherfucker. And then I will continue to honor you with platitudes and zeal.
I think he is good right now. But being great would have meant, he biffed on a throw at one point in time to, was it McRae or Kelly maybe? I'm not sure. Someone, on a throw that I know he can make. He's capable of making that throw.
But we saw fewer of those. I mean, I think that's where I've been the most critical of him. It's these wild throws, the throws behind guys, the throws fucking fully uncatchable because they're 12 yards sailing over that. A lot fewer of that. I mean, it is true. 57.1% completion rate. This is his worst performance on the season so far. But this is his first real But this is his first real opponent, right? This is the first real secondary we're seeing. So you got to give him a little bit of credit for that. 75-yard long pass. This has been the longest of his season so far. That's huge. That's the kind of calculated risk taking that pays off for this program that we needed to see at a critical moment in the game. I'm proud of him for taking those opportunities. And shows that he does have the capacity. What we're not always seeing is some of the confidence. And so I want to talk about that for a second too, because it's at the end of the second quarter, so we're going into the half, we had a beautiful drive. They had just scored. We're moving down the field. He's moving the ball at will, which is effectively what Micah or whatever you say the guy's last name was.
Mekhi Frazier?
No, the quarterback for USC, who just had his way with us. And we'll talk about that when we get to defense. But moving down is just fantastic. And then we're at first and goal. And it was like all of a sudden, our offensive line just fucking stopped. I cannot explain. I mean, first and second downs there are completely on the O-line. Utterly and completely. But the third down, and I guess maybe this is where I guess I need to go lighter on Childs, because I don't know what it means to be standing down a collective 1,200 pounds of man running at you at once. That's got to get in your head to some extent, because he fell back into that sort of tunnel vision piece where it was no question he could not hand the ball off, that he was going to have to throw. He could have been able to escape the pocket just 2 steps, and he gets dragged down after they, of course, pour through. I just, that's the kind of thing for me that's really, really difficult, because he had 2 receivers downfield, one in the end zone, that, you complete that. That is then you're going into the half potentially only down 3. You're going into the half in a completely different environment instead of going down 2. I know you can't rewrite the games like that, but this is just, I guess, what I mean about the confidence. I think he has more confidence in it. I think he's growing in self-confidence, which is what we absolutely need. And I think you see that with some of the calculated risk-taking you saw in the second half. But I do not think he has much, if any, confidence in his O-line. And that is going to be a singular problem for us.
I also think, to your point about confidence, sometimes last year we saw too much. We saw the wrong kind of confidence.
There you go.
I think the confidence now sometimes that we're seeing out of him is the confidence to say, I can make a play later on.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't have anything. It's not there. I'm going to take what's available to me.
Yep.
And I'll live to fight another day. That's a different kind of confidence that we've also seen out of Aiden Childs.
Yep.
Can we also acknowledge that Jack Velling finally found the end zone in what is a touchdown I'm shocked they did not review. I mean, I think it was a touchdown, but like it was hilariously on brand that it was the most barely touchdown.
The box score has it, Jay Velling catch made for 1 yard. It's just beautiful. It's just great. Frame it, Jack.
Yeah, I think this is generally speaking, Brian Lindgren called a great game.
He absolutely did.
You would like to believe that 31 points for many opponents we will face this year will have you more in the game than not.
Correct.
And I think, look, again, I hate to harp on it, but he came up. He was a beast. Gentry, their linebacker, who has a 7'1" and a quarter wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had some dudes on that side of the field who were just not human. And
it is that mismatch. I mean, it was the speed, the utter speed, the finding of the Swiss cheese holes, the porousness of our defensive line.
Are we switching?
Well, we can in a second, but what I want to say is it's the pluck. All of this. All their speed, their physicality, their size, the accuracy of the thrower, the fact that we're playing so late at night at the Coliseum. I mean, then you're dealing with injury after serious injury.
Yeah.
Right. And still, this was a competitive football game. This was a football game that we absolutely could have won. In a not impossible future, not thousands of things had to go right. And that is a testament to how hard they played. And so if this kind of energy and commitment and grit is what will define the team, we will make a bowl. And if this is what Jonathan Smith's contribution is to MSU lore, to this football team's identity, that will be sufficient for me.
On the offensive line, I do think it's worth noting that Stanton Ramil goes out with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
We are missing Luka Vincic, who's out for the season after a dude fell sideways on his knee in Youngstown State.
Yep.
We're missing there's something else going on because Caleb Carter, who I believe is in Western Carolina University transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Great depth piece, but was starting this week. So that means that I think Phillips played in this game, so maybe something's going on with Brocious. I don't know. I could look at the snaps, but I'm not going to. And so... we're Rustin Young, I believe, redshirt freshman, got reps at left tackle when Ramil went out. I thought he looked good, but there's just changes that are happening there. And to your point, the speed of their defensive line is certainly way more than our offensive line has practiced against all year because we don't have that.
Yeah.
Do we want to switch sides of the ball?
I think we have to. This was a tough night.
I guess quiet game from Marsh would be the other thing I'd say, who was
not
100%, but played.
They were not 100% for sure. He did play. He had a couple good looks. I mean, they had him pretty well locked down, which again was not difficult for them given the strength of their defense. So,
Yep.
and this goes to show another one of the weaknesses. But again, 31 points without a super healthy, super engaged Nick Marsh. Now, fast forward a different week where you've got a very healthy Nick Marsh and a defensive line that can maybe just do 37% better. This is this is potentially a win, right? This is another kind of contextual piece here. But let's talk about the defense.
We averaged 6.1 yards per play on offense.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's very good. I'll take that anytime. Unfortunately, I don't know how many yards they averaged on offense, probably 60 yards per play, considering this was, by all accounts, a defensive loss for the Spartans.
Yeah, so why don't you... I think the most surprising thing here was the run defense. What would you say?
They were unstoppable. I mean, just watching them find every hole available, watching our secondary scramble. My God, you guys talked last week about how we had done pretty well on the ends, and that was absolutely not the case. That was absolutely not the case this week. I don't know. I guess if there's any upside to this, it's that the defense just kept showing up. I mean, they kept trying. Oh, it was fucking ugly, though.
Yeah, down 5 starters. I don't know if I'm being really honest, though, that mattered.
Mm-hmm. Not with their skill.
They were still moving the ball with all 5 starters there.
Yeah.
Yep. And it felt really... I know everyone wants to come for Rossi right now, and we've got a lot of questions about that.
Okay.
But maybe USC, which I believe has the #1 recruiting class in the country right now and has been recruiting at a top-tier clip, and you might point the finger at Jonathan Smith, and that'd be fine. Say that he hasn't been recruiting at a good enough rate. But I think there was an outclass on personnel. And the thing is, there's still Tucker guys here.
Yeah.
And the Tucker guys who aren't here are some of the most coveted recruits who have been busts, by the way.
Big.
Remember By Job? Dude's playing at community college right now.
Yeah, it's bad. And okay, well, let's just get the contextual details out of the way, because you're right about the injury stuff. And we got to name this, obviously, Jordan Hall. We're going to talk about targeting and officiating in general later on. But the Jordan Hall thing, that was a big fucking bummer. Obviously, Wayne Matthews goes down with what is a terrifying injury. And I mean, oof.
Did today. At least,
and was apparently on the team plane going home. So, all of this is good. He's back in East Lansing. We'll see how he continues to mend. But yeah, so there's a lot of contextual stuff there. That's rough, and no surprise that the immediate next play after the 20-minute delay it took was a touchdoon. Okay, fine. Thank God it was just at the end of the half. I'm a little annoyed
that they ran play action though. Like, just do a run.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, and again, no one's expecting Lincoln Riley or any of those fuck asses to be anything more than what a typical Los Angelesan is. Anyway, they came to win, and they did. And then, of course, Quindarius Dunnigan and Nikai Martinez went head to head in the wrong way, and that did not help. So, were there issues before that? Absolutely. But coming for Joe Rossi, I mean, some of it's a personnel mismatch issue. That assuming you have those 4 guys still in the game at halftime, you can make some changes. There are some elective opportunities you potentially could have. You could talk about what are some of the tactics that we're not quite seeing, that we hadn't prepared for, or just get them in the room and figure out what the hell now that we're cooking. Is it that they're tired? Is it that it's so late? What is it? But you lose those 4 guys, and you're absolutely right. Now we are scraping what is already a barrel of bad talent. Talent's not the right word. So, oof. It's an utter skill mismatch. And it's not going to be a pretty season by the by if not only do we get some health back for some of these guys, but if we can't figure out, and I guess that I'll put on Rossi. But this is the first real test, frankly, for me. So coming for Rossi this hard right now, and I love to pile on as much as the next guy, particularly when it comes to our coaching staff. I don't know if I'm joining in.
Yeah, and I guess I just haven't heard a convincing argument that like the play calls or the scheme that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way he was calling the game. I am, we called it at the time of his hire that it was a little bit suspicious that some of his defensive rankings when he was at Minnesota were probably a consequence of playing in the Big Ten West where they just didn't score points.
100%.
But his teams did well in the non-con. Like, let's give credit where credit's due, and in bowl games, like they did well.
Yeah.
But I just have a hard time right now thinking this is anything other than a personnel issue. And
to that point, apart from, I'm thinking maybe I can think clearly of one close sack opportunity that we had. There may have been I'm only thinking of one, but we didn't record a single sack. We didn't record a single tackle for loss in this game.
So let's talk about
personnel. I mean, that's a personnel issue. That is not on Joe Rossi. That is just a core function of these guys either not being strong enough or not being smart enough to get where they need to get. And again, we can talk about the contextual reasons why, but that's not on Rossi. I mean, that's utterly a personnel issue.
Well, so should we talk about our dear friend and fellow podcaster who commented on this very thing and then take shots at him and not allow him to respond because he's not here?
Yes, that sounds fair.
So Sheehan talked about this today. Matt Sheehan on Locked On Spartans, which God bless that man for a variety of reasons. But
because when we say today, we mean Sunday. It was Sunday morning at
2:45
to just after 3 a.m. when he was recording. So yes, big doff of the cap to you, Matt.
And Sheehan, it's fair to point out that, well, you don't have the personnel. It's sort of like calls coming from inside the house then. Like who's in charge of the personnel?
Right.
Like you run an organization, Alex. If you said, well, my company's just not effective because I don't have the right people. Well,
yeah.
Well,
you have to do something about it.
So
that's right.
That's a fair point. I think I have a couple questions though. Mm-hmm. And I don't, which is to say that I don't have answers to these things. I kind of want to, I think people should take this into consideration. We heard all spring/summer about the house settlement was coming. The house settlement was coming. Like, we need our donors just to get us to July 1st.
Yeah.
Well, we also know, though, that in basketball, teams were signing big deals with players pre-house to lock them in, right? So it feels like in football, for whatever reason, MSU was playing a different game than probably other teams were playing as it relates to player retention. I think we probably took care of business with like Nick Marsh and Aiden Childs, but as it relates to going out in the transfer portal and netting some dudes, I kind of wonder if we had some donor fatigue there. And people just didn't step up. And look, we've talked a lot about the issues. Greg finally canceled his membership with whatever the fuck that fund was, but like,
oh yeah,
so anyway, I wonder how much there was in the cupboard to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just say, Joe Rossi, go buy a defensive end. Those are expensive.
Right.
And we did go out and buy like a whole new wide receiver room. Mm-hmm. So, like, square the circle on this one for me. I think we had finite resources and we dedicated it to the offensive side of the ball. That's my guess.
Well, and let's be, and to put the cherry on that point, I mean, last week when you guys had Dante, right?
Mm-hmm.
On, he was talking about the guys who he'd been talking to, the connections he'd had with players who were going to come or had strongly considered coming and chose not to come because they just didn't see the noticeable opportunity at Michigan State to win a bowl game or to be super competitive in the conference. So some of this is a question. It's a function of cash for sure, but it's also a function of optics. It's a function of,
Platform.
in platform. In today's environment, reputation means something. And I don't think that the last 5 years, 1 year accepted, and of course we already know how and why, but the last 5 years have not looked good for the program, and not in any sort of convincing way. So it becomes self-reinforcing at a certain point. Now, it is true, it will take money, I think, ultimately, to get out of that, to break that spiral, and then, to whatever reinforcing component, the culture piece. And that's why I pointed out the grit earlier.
Yeah, and hanging within two scores against a USC team, I think does count on the way to the optics. But the other thing I'd say about how MSU chose to build its rank and file on the defensive side was they went and have been going, generally speaking, after that first year, young.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in a lot of dudes who were either redshirt freshmen or redshirt sophomores, and there's a reason that you tend to see fewer of those players on the field, and we're getting a ton of reps out of those guys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, by the way, and we're not going to have a conversation about this, but just a little factoid. I believe we're now up to 5 players from Jonathan Smith's next class commits. So TBD on whether they actually sign, but are now composite 4 stars.
Yeah.
Despite wish Greg was here to rub that one in his face. But so anyway, as an aside, like I maybe they just made a decision on the defensive side of the ball about their long-term growth strategy. I don't know. I have questions about the amount of money they had to spend and how they chose to spend it. Like you can criticize that, but they did spend money. I think that's also, we just went up against the number one defense or number one offense, I believe, in all of FBS football.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. And, I mean, Alex Van Sumeren and Aiden Childs talked about it in the postgame. I mean, that was the first words out of their mouth. At least Van Sumeren's, and again, I'm like,
they're a wagon. Like,
no, they are.
And you got, at some point in time, can we also just give credit where credit's due?
Great program. There was a great program. It was a great program that, frankly, only beat us by 2 scores, despite us playing with a fuck ton of injuries in the middle of the goddamn night. So, frankly, if I'm USC, I might be a little disappointed in myself.
With dudes who were clearly outmatched. Like, we can be honest, we were slower than they were.
Yes.
And so, and against a coach who, like, I know he hasn't exactly had it rolling at USC, but has a strong reputation as an elite offensive mind.
Yeah.
And so, could I get up here and shout and scream about how the defense sucked? Yeah. Do I think that's actually valuable in this particular moment?
No.
I don't know. Like,
yeah, I get it.
Talk to me. The running thing is becoming a bit of a concern because Youngstown, that's the one thing that's if people want me to be pissy and demand excellence, and I know some of you don't, but but if we're going to demand excellence, and I think there's levels to actually how we talk about this team, just as an aside, to the extent that anyone cares, like the whole reason you have a football program is to win a national championship.
Correct.
And so there's some level in which we're going to have a conversation about winning a national championship. This team, I don't think anyone imagined was in that conversation, though, on this podcast. So the conversation as it relates to this team is them maximizing themselves for this season. Mm-hmm. Is this a team that could win 8 games? I think they could. Yep. I don't know that it's likely, but they could if they maximize themselves.
Yep.
And if they're going to do that, they need to get a lot better at stopping the run. If USC wants to carve you up in the air, that's almost to be expected.
Yep.
What was not expected was to be so handled at the point of attack in the running game. Like, that's unacceptable to me.
Yep. All right. Well,
last thing. We got to talk special teams for a moment.
Oh, please. Yeah.
And actually, just a coaching note. I don't know what you're doing lining Martin Connington up for a 54-yard field goal when you needed a touchdown.
It's that's the kind of reckless. But see, again, I didn't want to go there because I wanted to give Lindgren the win that
that's a Smith. That's not Lindgren. That's Smith.
Because he's doing special teams.
Well, he's the head coach. He decides whether they kick a field goal or go for it. Like, that's his decision. So,
he does make some boners. He does make some boners, and I don't know if that. What was that? When was that?
Is that going into the half?
Going into the half?
I think so.
Yeah, we put up that last 3.
I missed it.
I know. Well, yeah, sorry. We would have put up the 3. I don't know, dude.
Don't get me wrong. If you're looking at a 34-45 game, I do think you feel a little different about this game.
Fine, but that wasn't the contextual reality we were in at that moment.
No, I know. But so the other thing is that Ryan Eckley continues to be just a fucking god. It is unusual for punters to leave early. If you told me he leaves early, I would not be shocked by that. Not be shocked by it. No. You better find NIL dollars for him.
He put us in some very advantageous positions vis-a-vis bailing out the defense preemptively by just the wonderful field position he was able to get us into.
Did you happen to notice on the replay who their long snapper is?
No.
Oh, it's Hank Pepper.
I was just gonna say, don't fucking tell me it's long snapper Hank Pepper. Jesus fuck. Well, their punting unit came onto the field exactly 0 times. So forgive me for not knowing who that guy was.
Well, RG3 talked about him and said that the staff there, and actually, I mean, truly, like, I would actually really agree with this assessment based upon Hank Pepper's time at MSU, that he's like having an extra gunner on the guys who are on the wide side who run down, because he oftentimes made it as the long snapper down to make the
down
tackle.
All the way. Yep.
He's a very talented long snapper. And wish you the worst, Hank. Truly hope that you get
food poisoning tonight.
Anyway, should we talk some of this contextual stuff then?
I think we have to. And again, I just want to put a note here. Michael and I are fans of blaming everybody but ourselves because we're very good at blaming ourselves, which is to say this team. But I don't think that we can completely put this loss around the neck of this program, though they certainly deserve it in some ways. And I think we've been clear and consistent about that. But there are at least 2 areas I think we want to kind of focus on. We've already talked about injuries, so I'm going to kind of strike that one. But let's talk about the time of night.
So I don't know that actually the injuries and time of night are completely unrelated.
Yeah. But that's my point. So we kicked off at just past 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Daylight Time, even, I might say.
Yeah, EDT.
And that is insane. These players cannot practice after 11 o'clock at night.
For those of you who are not terminally online, yes.
Because
that's true.
Because it's a question of safety. It's a question of good practice. It's a question of hygiene. It's a question of
Are you a student?
These are students. These are student athletes. They're not professionals. Yes, they're highly skilled. Yes, they should be highly compensated. No, at the end of the day, they're still students. They have academic obligations. And they have performance obligations. I want them to win football games. I don't want them up all hours of the night. So,
and more to the point, Alex, if I just may, I don't want to interrupt you, but it's really important to note that a distinction between our pro players, which is to say, our college players, and time, as it relates to time, and pro football players is one of them only has one obligation, and it's to football. Like,
and they collective fucking bargain. And but when was the last 11 o'clock fucking NFL kickoff you saw?
Oh, sure. I mean, yes. No. Yes, and yes. But even still, you want to talk about sleep banking, right?
100%.
Like you could align a whole schedule around a trip out west.
Yep.
Because your one on is to play football.
Yes.
You don't have to go to class.
You don't have to balance all the rest of this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this is on Adam Haller. This is on Alan Haller.
No, this is on Petiti, and this is the TV deal.
This is why I'm saying it was on Haller, and to another extent, it's on Jay Bott. Bot, I don't care.
Bat.
They should not have played. I know everyone's going to laugh me down and they say, Plum, you're not even serious. Shut the fuck up. And I'm saying, no, I am serious. This is actually, because now look at the injuries we're actually dealing with.
In a union sort of, the players should have said, no,
the players should have said, well, we're not going. And the team should have, Jonathan Smith should have said, as a leadership question, I'm not going to put my players through this. It isn't safe. It isn't responsible. And when the schedule was announced, Jonathan should have gotten their asses to Indianapolis and got Petiti in the fucking corner and had his ass up against the wall and said, I don't know what you're going to have to do, but we won't be flying. And so, sure, we'll take a loss. We were probably going to lose the game anyway. And I'm sure you're going to issue some ridiculous fine, whatever. We're going to make a statement, because the statement is now Fox fucking Sports, which can go fuck itself in the ass, has got an open time slot and no game there. And I'm sure they'd fill it with rodeo or something.
But they had other football games they could have picked and chose not to.
Anything. And so it cannot be hard to go back to the network and say, you got to realign stuff. That team is just not going to play. I can't make them play. And they're happy to die on this cross because they know it'll be you, network, that doesn't have advertising, that's going to have to figure out what the fuck just happened. There are principled stands sometimes that we have to take. And you're going to say, well, what, this is the principle you want to take? The school that's been responsible, that's had a school shooting and it's had sexual harassment and all this, but this is the one? Well, let's fucking choose one. Let's choose one that I think universally, I mean, this came up how many times on the broadcast? Universally, everyone understands and would respect a program that says this is malfeasance to get our asses there and be playing that late at night. It is fucking stupid. And so I say shame on all of them. Shame on Haller and I don't know how much of it's him, because I don't know how much of this is planned ahead of time, but shame on any of it.
It's the week of. They decided or 2 weeks ago.
Fine. But then I would have been saying when I'm working with anybody, when we added fucking 17 teams from the Pac-12 to the goddamn conference, it should be these teams are never going to be on the losing end when they come out east. So the parity is we're never going to disadvantage the East teams when they have to go out west. This is fucking fucked. So I'm hot, but that's fucking stupid, and shame on them. They should have taken a stand. Shame on them.
Yeah, because I think what's the worst that they'll deal with? Is it like a 9 a.m. body clock kick? Like it's the worst they'll deal with?
Boo fucking who? You will already have been there.
So they're waking up at 6, which, by the way, football players
most of these guys are.
Yeah, because
What are you talking about? It's crazy. No, it's just a different thing entirely. And by the way, and I'm happy to say we don't kick before 3:30 when West teams come out east, or they're their night games. We can make these compromises because it's in player health and safety. We have got to stop defaulting and deferring to the networks. No one wants to watch a 3-hour and 45-minute fucking football game. No one wants to be in the stands for that experience. No one wants to be drunk by the time the third quarter starts, because it's like, how long have I been here? And no one wants to see this shit happen. So make the point, because I think you're right about the correlation here and the player injuries.
Yeah, I mean, look, MSU was penalized in ways that were a bit uncharacteristic. There was a sloppiness, and I just look. You can find plenty of evidence. This isn't actually a two sides thing. There is resounding evidence about the amount how sleep deprivation affects your likelihood of being injured, about how it affects your performance. Not that anyone cares about me, but like I'm really invested in my gym journey. And the one thing that I keep beating myself up on is that I'm actually not competing hard enough in the sleep area. And it is holding me back.
Yep.
And so when you have people who are fine-tuned and are really abiding by these things, and then you're not throwing a grain of sand in the gears, you're throwing a fucking wrench. And to your point, I agree about extending the courtesy to the West Coast teams. If they have a problem with a noon kick, I'm happy to hear that. If you tell me that's a problem, I hear you.
Yep.
Because this sat in a level of unacceptable.
Yep.
And it's hard not to be really angry that like I was up till 3 a.m. last night.
Yeah, good for you. I called it at halftime because I just fucking couldn't.
So I Wayne Matthews going down, and it was unclear what happened.
Yeah.
Two dudes hitting each other. Like maybe these things are all fluke accidents that just happened.
Sure.
Maybe.
Could be.
Or maybe, just maybe, it was 1 a.m. in the morning for them, and we were asking them to do elite levels of athleticism.
Yep.
So
you can focus, you can get, and again, it's not like they were zombies on the field, but this is actually true in medicine. Every year, student doctors begin residency in the summertime, and every year, error rates go through the roof in hospitals. By the way, if you didn't know this, if you're ever scheduled for elective surgery, you do not want to do it between the months of June and September. Avoid them like the fucking plague, because it's when you've got new batches of residents coming in to start different surgical rotations and other pieces. And if we're not talking about open heart surgeries here, those are probably fine. But the elective arthroscopic knee, things like that, you just don't want the brand. And they got to learn somewhere, and I get it. Just let it be the other guy, not you. But one of the fastest ways you can get residents out of a surgery is all they have to tell their attending, I think I'm too tired. Thumb. Yep, get the fuck out. Go lay down. I don't know. The number of car accidents, the number of serious injuries that residents experience themselves or on their patients because of sleep deprivation. Frankly, it is one of the most immoral aspects of what is a very broken healthcare system, how we treat residents, the expectations we put on them. But sleep deprivation leads to errors consistently. We see it in traffic, all the kind. So it's got to be there, and I think that's it. The second thing we wanted to talk about is the officiating, but only to an extent.
Yeah, no, so I want to talk about targeting in particular. I actually think this was they said it several times on the broadcast. I would agree. This was a well-officiated game.
I thought so.
And I appreciate that. So I have two things. Let's talk about both the targeting call on Jordan Hall and the targeting review on.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, Nikai Martinez, maybe.
It might have been Martinez who was back in. Yeah.
So the Jordan Hall thing, I've been a longtime proponent on this podcast, in particular, about that targeting is a valuable penalty.
Yep.
And in particular, the ejection is a good thing, because you need a consequence that is severe, that coaches the technique out of the game.
Yep.
Because you can say, well, all like face masks happen all the time.
All the time. Yep.
And so and you can tell actually that targeting has started to fade in those brutal hits. Nikai Martinez actually, I think, or no, I'm sorry, Mangum had a brutal hit on a dude that was 1,000% legal. He turned his shoulder into him and he rocked his world. And you know what? Good hit, right? Probably still not great for the brain, but leaps and bounds better than whatever. And so the targeting rule is important and good. I am increasingly having frustrations with these things where it's like, dude was already in his motion and the other guy came down. Jordan Hall hit head straight up, full body contact, like no leading with the head. This defenseless player thing also feels like a different wrinkle than targeting.
Yep.
And so I'm sorry, don't throw the ball over the middle of the fucking field to a dude who's being beat. This isn't complicated.
I mean, if he catches that ball and remains standing upright, the contact was going to happen within a millisecond. He was already in, as you say, progression. He'd already left his feet. And if it happens, his helmet hits the guy in the belly. It would have hit him in the belly, and he would have probably been rocked, but we wouldn't be talking defenseless posture, though he would have been just as defenseless standing up as he was falling down.
Well, no, he would have been defenseless. It just wouldn't have been helmet to helmet, right? Like, he still would have qualified as a defenseless player.
Sure, but we're not talking about targeting, and that's the point. this is again, the punishment has to fit the crime. And the crime has to involve intent. And proving intent anywhere is difficult. And in refereeing in sports, and I can tell you with authority, is almost impossible, which is why officials are told your job is not to prove intent. We're going to build the rules in such a way that the intent will simply be assumed based on any number of things: speed, distance, like there's a lot of criteria, and because that's all we can do. We can't get in someone's head, despite how much we try. Obviously, if a guy winds up and jacks a guy in the face, we basically know what the intent is. But again, you can codify that in rules. So I understand that there are, because you get Pereira up there, and Pereira's like, yeah, I don't see how it isn't targeting. I don't see how it's not targeting. It's head to head, and he's in a defensive spot. I'm sorry.
But there's a second category of targeting, which is the launching with the crown of the helmet.
Right.
And so you talk about intent, right? Like that is a bad hit.
Yep.
That is dangerous to both players.
Yep.
And so if you want to say there are two types of targeting,
right?
I still maintain that like there's nothing that should be penalized about what Jordan Hall did.
Sure. But certainly not it is a difference in form and substance.
Right.
So to eject him for
Did he have good tackling form? Yes.
Yes.
Then he should remain in the game.
Did he lead with the crown of his helmet to hurt somebody? Absolutely not. He couldn't have possibly predicted how that guy was going to go down. So you can't tell me that he wasn't using due caution or due regard when, if the guy had remained standing, there would have been no penalty on the play whatsoever. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. We have to consider these things separately.
The irony is, too, in all of this that I find incredibly frustrating.
It's really great.
Is that at the same time that if Jordan Hall had actually lowered his head and speared the guy, which would have put him in a position to potentially get a bad targeting penalty, right? But that would have actually not gotten him a targeting penalty because he wouldn't have hit the other dude's head. Like we've seen it before where a running back will lower their head, and because a defender has gone low, and that it's an ejectable targeting.
Right.
Which in some ways, I agree with that call.
Yep.
Like you need to keep your head up. It is about safety. But the idea that Jordan Hall could have gone with a bad tackle and avoided this penalty is actually
absurd.
An indictment of how bad this rule is.
Yep. So they've got to clean it up. And these are the kinds of things that I assume and hope the rules committee are understanding. What I know we wanted to just briefly mention is the second one. Very soon after Jordan Hall's ejection, it might have been even the same.
No, I think it was at least one other.
Okay, one more. So they stopped the game because there was a potential targeting, and everyone's like, "The fuck!" The players are confused. Fucking USC is confused. Mike Pereira is confused. Pereira's even like, I'm not even sure why they stopped the game for this, because this is where the broadcasters go out of the way to say that's been a pretty well officiated game, but guys, fucking chill out. Now, credit to them, they did the review very quickly, but see. What concerns me is now all of a sudden we are overly fixated on this one question. We're now over refereeing the game. And the number one thing that referees, there's probably a lot, but certainly, the one thing I've certainly have always remembered key to my training was do not over referee a game. Do not referee the game that isn't being played. You've got to referee the game that is in front of you. Going into, because none of the referees on the field had that. None of the referees on the field had that. That was a pre-snap. Oh, wait, hold on. Now all of a sudden we're reviewing it for potential targeting? Like, hold the fuck on. So that's the kind of thing where you've got an overzealous video operator who's probably, never been quite good enough to become an on-field official. This is the closest he's going to get, just trying to take his...
He's cosplaying.
Yeah, he just tended to get his few minutes in the sun. And the referee was like, Eric, what the fuck are you talking about? Absolutely not. If you do this again... Of
course it's Eric.
I'm talking to the commissioner and you're out. Okay, motherfucker? Don't do it again. And then he goes back, sorry.
Did you hear about the ref who resigned recently?
College
over replay? Oh, I gotta.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna. I'll have to look this up. This is good.
I think it's an ACC ref. Um, they called in after another play had been run and made him negate that entire play and go back. And he's like, "You what? You can't do that." Anyway, as an
Well,
aside,
you're right. Yeah, veteran ACC football. I'll have to read about that later. That's interesting.
yeah. Though I do hope that the Big Ten moves by way of I believe the ACC and also the Big 12 in allowing um, listeners and viewers to get the audio and visual of the review center.
Yeah.
Like, what are you afraid of? Do the transparency. Let them, because we get some of that in basketball to a degree. So anyway, as an aside, but like, I just I will die on the hill, and I know people will disagree with me that launching with the crown of your helmet is an ejectable offense, and we should continue to make that an
Yep.
ejectable offense. It is bad for the player who's doing it, and it's bad for the players who are receiving it. Like, it's bad. We want to get that out of the game. But this other stuff, you got to do something about it because there's nothing wrong. Jordan Hall tackled with good form. Good form. All right. Should we? Oh, do we mention volleyball last week?
I don't know the answer to this.
If we didn't last week, I don't know that this is still true. They were off to their best start, 7-0 since 2012. I don't remember if we mentioned that or not.
Kelly.
All right. Alex Plum, because if listeners have not picked up, I'm incredibly sick. I'm going to ask you to say a few kind words about our dear friends at Mama's Mercantile and Eatery.
Well, let me say it this way.
I cough my lung out.
Yeah, you go cough your lung out. COVID isn't real, everybody. Don't worry. Jones doesn't have it. Mama's Merc.
9/11?
Nothing. No other political commentary. We might be canceled. Christ knows. The FCC, we don't want them after us.
Not us. Canceled. And all the money we make. Oh, no.
Womp, womp. All of our listener. Mama's Mercantile and Eatery in lovely Grass Lake, Michigan, right off of I-94 on Clear Lake Road, is waiting for you, your loved ones, and your best friends to come and eat lunch, supper, brunch on the weekends, whatever it is. It's time to head over to Mama's Mercantile. This afternoon, Jason and I were heading home from Chicago. We'd been with some friends for the weekend. Had a lovely time celebrating with a MSU alumna on her wedding anniversary. A little party in downtown Chicago. Had a blast. On the way home, we were a little hungry, and we decided that we were going to have some lunch at Mama's Mercantile and Eatery. Only challenge was we had our doggo with us, and she got a little impatient, got a little barky in the back, and we had to pull off before we got that far. Decided for the sake of expedience to just get some lunch where we were. You don't care about any of this. My point in telling you it, though, is that Mama's is a thing we think about. When we are driving long distances on I-94, generally without the dog, we plan our travel such that a lunch or a brunch or some time with friends at Mama's is something that we can do. So,
and your lunch was subpar.
Well, it was not good. I mean, I might even add it was Chipotle. They were out of chicken. The line was through the.
What?
This is what I'm talking about. It's shame on us, and this is why I said shame on us. So,
did you punish Yali for this?
She got a kick. She got 2 kicks right in the head, and that she won't do that again. So, anyway, Mama's is the place to go. Whether you kick your dog or not, whether you like Chipotle or you don't, just don't fuck around with any of it. Just go to Mama's. And by the way, Yali's generally very well behaved. She's welcome at Mama's. We've eaten outside with Yali countless times. She gets along great. They've got a lot of treats, water bowls, and stuff for the dog. So whether you're dining in, ordering online, experience great food, drinks, and atmosphere at Mama's, you're going to get over there, get their Michigan-made products all on the menu, allowing you to get a piece of their kitchen to yours. You can visit mamasmerc.com for menus, online ordering, and more. Come as a guest, leave as family, mention Can't Read, Can't Write, and get 98% off your bill.
10%
off. Okay, just 10% off your bill.
All right, and we should mention, despite my sickness, we are enjoying number 16.
I enjoyed. I enjoy it. Listeners, we've done we should be ashamed of ourselves. Over a year ago, listener Mike Jones supplied
That we were in your garage when we got those.
we three
I still
pod
have the
hosts
purple one that down in the basement. That was good.
a box of shooters numbered and filled with an eclectic
Mystery.
an eclectic array of spirits. And tonight was number 16, and it was delicious.
Joe Montana.
It was the Coppercraft bourbon whiskey. Coppercraft is one word. Coppercraft bourbon whiskey. And I'm going to tell you, this was palatable. This was delicious. This had a fantastic notes. I got caramel. I got the lightest amount of smoke. There was a hint of sweetness. It
butterscotch,
went down
maybe
easy,
a little bit,
very easy. Coppercraft bourbon whiskey. I'm going to tell you, I cannot recommend it highly enough. And frankly, I'm ashamed that I have not finished all of those spirits. The one issue, of course, is that all that's left are the clear spirits, and those are the ones that make me the most nervous, particularly on a Sunday night. So to figure out what to do with those later. And
we should mention it, like, for those who don't know, Mike Jones works in, I think we can share,
right,
a distributor.
That's right.
So when you buy these spirits, you are helping his company. So like this is a good one. Like, you should seek this one out if you see it.
And by the way, really, he takes our
boozy.
feedback.
It's boozy too, with this, like, it's a good bourbon. It hits
great.
Good.
It hits great. I feel great. I just got just a tiny bit loose, so I could really go off on that 11 o'clock kick. But otherwise, well in control of my faculties. And I'll just say, Mike really does appreciate the feedback on these, because he is a teetotaler for the most respectable of reasons. He's just a good person. And so, as one who doesn't imbibe his own supply, God, that just doesn't get smarter than that. We're the winners here.
He has so much supply.
Thank you, Mike Jones. And the only thing we can say about you is, sorry we didn't get your questions this week. Yeah. But maybe we at least talked a lot about you. So let's go off Grand River really quick, Jonesy, before we take the questions.
All right. So first and foremost, it has been decided that they're eliminating the spring transfer portal window. I have questions about what litigation this may introduce. I don't, but two windows would have also introduced the litigation. So like, who cares? But this is a net positive for the sport. They've not, I believe, I could be wrong on this, or just not online enough. I believe they've not decided on what the official new window will be. I hope it is after the college football championship is done. But that would be a net positive. So you don't ever have a Derek Harmon, Simeon Barrow situation again. People just leaving after spring practice.
Which makes sense. I mean, frankly, it's absurd.
You should know by the time spring ball comes around that your roster is your roster. And that's what it is. So I think that'll make the one portal more exciting. Also, one portal window more exciting. More players will probably jump in, but all in all, it's a net positive for the sport. The other thing that we want to chat about is what's happening at Wofford.
Weird.
It is weird. So a handful of players, I believe 4.
Yeah,
does that sound right?
I don't know if they had a specific number. It might have been 4.
4 players were suspended from the team, and their coach was fired as a consequence of these 4 players who were living off campus using a meal plan, which led to an impermissible benefit in the tune of $80 to $100 some. So we're talking Miles Bridges level offense here. Which I know we're not like big on Miles, but the having to pay $50 to a charity in retrospect was so stupid.
So I do want to say one note, because on first blanch, this is just the NCAA NCAAing. Again, more evidence of its own irrelevance in the whole wider world of sports and its continued pleading with society to please put us out of our misery, we are absolutely inept and bereft of any common sense.
But wait, yes, but wait.
It may be, well, two but waits. The first is on the firing of the coach. This is according to John Good, who's Goodman?
Jeff Goodman.
Jeff Goodman from ESPN reporting that the big issue, Field of 68, sorry, that the firing of the coach was due to recruiting inaccuracies. I don't know if we want to call them lies, but that players were told they would be living in upper class dorms when they were recruited and instead were put in underclass dorms, which is why the players moved off campus and took their meal plans with them. They had originally been assigned those meal plans as on-campus residents. And so part of the potential firing was not because the players violated the meal plan policy, but because they felt they had no choice but to move because they had been basically sold a bill of goods. But the NCAA was not.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The NCAA was not going to be sold up the river for this. And so when Wofford announced that the players were suspended because of their $80 sin, the NCAA said, up. Now, this is really something because the NCAA generally gets off on people despising them. I think that the folks at the NCAA are constantly looking on Twitter, just finding whatever hate speech they can against them and just absolutely loving it. So
the gesticulation, if you're not watching on YouTube,
you'll want to. So anyway, but this was a bridge too far. They simply could not allow that to stand. And so they went onto Twitter and said, we never said that they were suspended. No, indeed, we did not. And those players, to our minds, are not suspended. And so then Wofford had to then also issue their response on Twitter saying, sorry, we didn't mean suspended. We just mean that they had been ruled ineligible. But we really appreciate the NCAA's cooperation on the matter, which is just very confusing. Frankly, at the end of the day, this really looks bad on Wofford.
It's like it's coming from one direction and then the other.
Just two directions. But you do not want to be in a position of making the NCAA look like the mature or competent one in the room. So this is just a program loss. The players have gotten fucked here. The coach is out of a job. The athletic department is clearly incompetent. So
and complicating this, this false bill of goods narrative that Wofford is peddling also doesn't really hold any water because 12 out of 15 players for Wofford have said that if the coach is not reinstated,
that's right,
they're not playing.
So
they couldn't possibly have sold a false bill of goods,
or they wouldn't be the angry ones. Well,
yeah.
So this is the question.
So now I think some folks have rightly pointed out that like schools, when things happen that are against the rules, do work with the NCAA
generally
quickly and behind the scenes.
Yep.
So it may be inaccurate to say that the NCAA suspended the players, but it may be also accurate to say that the NCAA said that this would be the appropriate punishment for the players.
Yeah.
The idea that a school, I don't even know what division or conference Wofford is in. I know it's one that doesn't matter.
It's SoCon, I think.
Who cares?
Don't ask me why I know that.
But the idea that
it is.
Nick Marsh is making $1 million a year.
Right.
And we're fretting about what some players at Wofford did with their fucking meal plan.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. You've lost the plot.
Yep. 100%.
And I don't care if it was the school. I don't care if it was frankly, I would applaud the school more if they were breaking the rules, giving the meal plan away when they shouldn't be under the Anyway, fun stuff as always. Should we get into the social media questions?
First up is Jason Fry And this is a good one. Unfortunately, Pork Roach is not here to defend himself. Not that he deserves to be defended, let's be clear. Who eats more flavorful food in the Grooch household? Grooch, Grooch's wife, Grooch's wife's boyfriend, or Grooch's pooch? And I'm going to actually try to answer this. Having just been with Kevin a week or so ago, I actually saw him eating out of his pooch's dog bowl. He said it was the exact sort of flavorless profile that he's come to expect and appreciate. So I would guess it's neither him nor the dog, which would lead me to believe it's just got to be the wife.
But I know some of her hesitancies about certain foods, so I think it's Grooch's wife's boyfriend.
Very good.
And also,
he wasn't there when I was there, which is a real disappointment because he's a good guy.
Greg would be the first to tell you that he works in tech, and so the idea that he's dog fooding is on point.
Yeah.
Next up, Wingnut 289. First time. Thank you for joining us.
And a great question to boot.
Yeah. Plum Max Bulla, who is the linebackers coach for Notre Dame, and was suspended for reasons unknown.
Jesus Christ, for the love of fuck. This is
the more that happens, the funnier it gets.
It really is.
And next time it's going to make me cough in a way that is going to be detrimental to the pod. So keep your shit together, Plum. But Max Bulla for next D coordinator.
I'm going to say yes, and I'll tell you why I'm saying yes. While I'm not on the Joe Rossi train today, that isn't to say I won't be next week. Well, okay, 2 weeks. Although, fuck, who knows what'll happen in the bye. I might come for him. Why not?
Sure.
So I think there's something to be said for getting home team talent back into East Lansing, particularly if they're a guy like Max Bulla, who was fantastic when he played for us. And I have only good things to remember about him. I don't care if those are selective memories or not.
All right, here's the one thing I'll say, if I may.
Please.
We are Michigan State University. Lest we not forget, I appreciate that we've been down, but where we stand in the hierarchy of schools.
We shouldn't be giving an opportunity away like that just to some upstart because he's from home.
Well, right. Like I'm not opposed to Max Bulla someday becoming our defensive coordinator. Sure. I would embrace that. I would love that. But the idea that like someone who hasn't called a game,
sure,
we're going to give him his first shot.
Yep.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, make it make sense. Okay, good point. Next up, Professor 58, also first time question.
Yeah.
All right, love it. What SEC team does Childs and Marsh play for next season? Oh boy,
I honestly don't think they're going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, I've been disappointed by Trey Holloman in a way that has scarred me permanently. Will not forget that.
Correct.
But I do genuinely believe that both of their families and they are committed to the idea that they're going to make this team good.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a step one is, does this offense continue to produce at this level this year? If it does, and the defense is the thing that's lacking, then the coaching staff has something to sell for coming back next year, which is to say that we upgraded on defense.
Well, certainly Marsh's family is all bought in. I just don't think Childs is good enough to go play in the SEC. I mean, I think that's all honestly where we probably are.
Fair. So next up, Thomas Zambiasi, who's having a worse showing in their new Big Ten job, Joe Rossi or Mike Tressel? Is Tressel at Wisconsin? Am I remembering that correctly?
No.
In which case, it is Tressel.
Isn't Fickle? Oh wait. Did Fickle hire Tressel? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
We're both like,
yeah, he's at Wisconsin.
He is. Oh God, yeah, he is having a boner. It's for sure him. Mostly because Luke Fickle's having the biggest boner in the whole Big Ten right now.
I just want to. Hold on.
How does this happen? I mean, he was good at Cincinnati. We were trying to ascertain if those were his shoes. He could have been in East Lansing.
We just all acknowledge.
Ooh,
pain.
Ooh, it is pain. That just is. What statement is that? It's like Melania Trump wearing the fuck I don't really care if she's visiting like orphaned sick children.
Yeah, it's not
Anyway,
great.
next up from Zombieosity, Michael, how would you motivate the D line to finish a play when they get to the backfield? Looked like they didn't expect to be there and didn't know what to do next.
Plum, how would you motivate Yali?
Food. How would you
Oh,
motivate any golden retriever?
I thought it
Food.
was a swift kick in the ass. Because I would, we're either motivating Childs or we're motivating the D line, but I'm kicking them
Yeah.
straight into the quarterback during live rounds at practice at this point in time. And if I got to put Alessio out there to take some hits, then that's what we're doing. Next up, Eb Marie 24. Is this defense worse than the Hazleton defense? Alex
Oh,
Plum?
Lord. Oh,
No.
God. I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't think so. Not right now. I don't think. I think it's too soon to say. Is it possible? Did yesterday's defensive drumming at the hands of USC not lead one to question this? Is this not a fair question? Absolutely a fair question. But
Were
no.
we as in the game against Ohio State
Okay,
at any
good point.
point in time?
Well, and thankfully we won't be playing Ohio State this year, so we can't have to answer that question in a direct comparison.
But I think my point being from a talent level,
yeah,
this is about as close of a facsimile as you're going to get.
I think that's good. I like that you used facsimile. The second thing I will say though is,
thank you.
If we have this performance against Michigan at home, then I reserve the right to rescind my answer to this question. Okay, Eve Marie, so bring it back up. Last up, and from her, I think, Michael, this is actually interesting. Are any coaches' seats hot?
I mean, at some point in time, I think you got to talk about the two dudes who were coaching the defensive line.
At some point, probably not after game 4.
I might have talked about one of them after last year, but I'm close to being able to talk about both of them.
Okay.
We'll see how the rest of the season plays out, but you know.
Yep.
Next up, Jebediah.
It's either J. Debediah or J.D. Ebediah. I don't know, but I love it.
Either way, yeah. You're on Rumspringa with that name.
Good. Great.
That was a good one.
That was good. No one got it, but I liked it, and I appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Who enters the portal first, Marsh or Childs?
No, it's neither of them. But if it had to be one of them, it would be Childs. And I tell you that for this reason. I think Marsh is fully bought in, and I think more to the point, his mother is fully bought in, and I don't think she'd let him leave. Childs, though, I could see him. Man, I don't even want to put it in the universe. I think it would be Childs if it was the two of them, but I don't think it's going to be either of them for the reasons that Michael said. I have a reason why. I just don't want to say it out loud because I feel like I might jinx us. And because I'm being nice to him, this week for everybody who's ever said.
Acknowledge that.
Please acknowledge that I am being nice. And that not just me, but this pod is being nice to the players. Boo-hoo. Fuck. All right. Jesus Christ. All right. Last up from J.D. Ebediah or whatever. Is it now fair to say MSU should have hired Big Sig? Or do we still need more time?
Well, of course it's fucking obvious. Like, dude just ran a wagon over Burt Bielema, and it should be noted that getting a wagon wheel to move over Burt Bielema's midsection is difficult. So, like, yeah, it's clearly Sig. And Sig would have been better resourced here, too.
Well, I mean, I don't know, dude. Indiana is... they
don't know
great.
how to cheer for football. It's like Iowa fans watching basketball, and they're like, every play's a foul, right? Like, they don't understand it. But, yeah, credit where credit's due. Sig is a great coach. Now, all that to say... it is entirely possible that Jonathan Smith ends up being that here and that his process is just a little different. And like, I still think we're trending in the right direction. I don't know why getting smoked at 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
By
Is leading to this.
USC and Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Is all that shocking in year 2? 4 games into year 2 of a rebuild.
Yep.
What are we doing here?
Well, it is. Big Sig put a 53-point hurt on Illinois.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, and obviously that's the right hire. Like if we could do it over again, sure.
Who knew?
But I will say this: John Smith's a lot younger, so if he does figure it out here, my God, that runway is pretty sick.
There it is.
Next up, Tigers fan 63. What are we doing up so early after a 3 a.m. finish? I believe this is in reference to what time I tweeted out the call for questions.
Oh, what time was that? And what were you doing up so early?
I think it was only like 10 a.m.
Well, that's mature of you, and credit to your doughty wife for playing child carer for you as you recover not just from your late night, but also your poor little sick throat. Oh, this little guy.
It's in here. That's the 6.
I don't care.
Here.
Yeah, I don't really care where it is. All right, next
up, I'm gonna hop on a plane. Get everybody on the sick on the plane, and then I'm gonna come to your place, and I'm gonna cough on you. And if I don't get you, I will have infected Metro Detroit. It'll come for you eventually.
Yeah, it will. I mean, we run a child's health center. It's gonna come for all of us. All right, next up,
health center.
Can any of you play defense?
No.
I couldn't in football for sure, but I did play soccer. I played defense in soccer. That was my position when I played in high school.
Because you were slow, right?
I wasn't fast, if that's what you're asking.
You were just positionally aware?
Positionally aware is frankly hurtful.
It's the nicest thing somebody could say that's disrespectful.
That's right. That's exactly it.
Next up, Tigers fan 63. Can we get a common sense revision to the targeting rule that is just a 15-yard penalty?
Well, I think about this. It's asked and answered. Yeah, it's a good question, and I think for the reasons you said, I think there's a second tier to this. We've got flagrant 1s and flagrant 2s in basketball. I think it's attempting to do the same thing. It's just trying to hold. And by the way, we do this in soccer. There are different, now a red card is a red card generally, but there are different penalties for the red card on the back end. How many games one is suspended from playing as a result of various actions that take place on the field. So I think it's fair to say that there's something like this that probably should get worked on. Next up, Howard Bailey. Michael, what worries you the most about the team / the season?
Howard, I love this. You're demanding excellence. If you can go leave some 5-star reviews, that'd be appreciated. I think we're seeing a decline in the run fits that's a little bit concerning. Originally, it was just sort of like some coverage handoffs that were happening. I also, a place of depth linebacker, it ended up not being that deep because we didn't see people rotating early in the way that we thought we would. And now with Hall out Hall will be back, but with Matthews potentially out for a while, like, that's a bit of a ding. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what worries me the most is actually maybe what shouldn't worry me, Plum, but does. We saw resiliency out of this team.
Yes.
I know we commented on it, but I don't know that we did enough of this team stood up and played a full 60 minutes.
Yeah.
They didn't make winning time plays, but they played. Right. And so what worries me is that they will be as what's an old timey word that I can use for the sour grapes attitude of our fan base right now? The sky is falling.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna throw in the chat for you something that someone said to me recently. I've only heard my dad use that word.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, I worry that they're going to be as apoplectic as we all are, and so I hope that they remain as resilient as we would hope. Next up, from Howard Bailey, what would it take for you to believe we can make a bowl game, Alex Plum?
I'd actually throw in the second question because I think they go together for me.
Do you think nothing has really changed in my calculus on are we going to make a bowl game?
Same
Maryland,
with you. No, I'm with you on this. He asks number 3 though, why does the defense suck? And I think for me that it's the same. It's the same question asked in a different way. For me, the thing that will make me believe we don't make a bowl game is if we see the defense either plateau or regress.
sure.
And there are a couple potential predictors of that. The injuries are one of those things. If we continue to see a pernicious problem, guys are staying out, we're not getting some of the health back, or we're continuing to see like fuck. If we let Illinois, for example, put 24 on us, God help us. So those are the things that would make me worry that we were not making a bowl game. But the premise of your question was that we weren't thinking we were going to already, and that is in fact not the case, Howard. If you were an avid listener of this pod, you would know that we all believe that we are going to be at least 6 win team. Though, of course, I believe at the season I called we would only be a 6 win team, and I'm glad I said that because that's where I am still sitting.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Nebraska's going to tell us a lot.
Oh yeah.
Remember how well they played against Iowa coming out of the bye week last year? I mean, if we're able to steal one,
yep,
to a degree,
yep, it'll say something.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, G Kwang asks, "Do you think the players are holding the team back or the coaches, and why?" I'm interested. This is a dichotomous question.
I think we've seen, generally speaking, really good play calling out of Brian Lindgren. I mean, there's been some head scratchers at times, but whatever. I mean, I think, right, like if you pointed to any one play at any point in time, you're like, that was stupid. You're like, okay. I mean, great. I see you all do that for Lions games also, right? Like with Ben Johnson, you did it and you loved him, right? So we can stop with that nonsense. The Brian Lindgren in the aggregate has been pretty good this season. And actually, Joe Rossi did a lot in this last game. He started later in the game doing more blitzing. Like, did it get home? Obviously not, but I do think it was disruptive. And it was you could call it desperation, but it was clearly adapting to the circumstances, which is to say things weren't going well, and so he was trying to make something work. I'm willing to entertain the idea that USC has a lot more talent than most Big Ten teams. Like, if you think about it, they're an incredible brand. They're in Southern California, which is a talent-rich area, and they have a coach who has a history of performing at elite levels. I mean, Oklahoma was going to the college football playoff with enough of a regularity.
Yeah.
So I think it's entirely possible that we're just outmatched to a degree, and I do think there's some. They were asked about the recruiting process, Plum, and they talked about how when they recruit people that they sit down and watch film with them, and they're like, if they're a dum-dum, we don't recruit them. I do wonder how it's going to make it sound like I'm calling people dum-dums, but I don't mean to, but like, I wonder how much over time people, in spite of maybe athletic limitations, get just smarter with this staff.
Wait, was that Lincoln Riley's staff or ours?
With ours, that like Jonathan Smith has talked about how, or maybe it was Brian Lindgren, that like when they watch tape with players on recruiting visits, they don't offer if like you
guys aren't getting it.
If you can't talk about the system and what you're seeing and like in a way that demonstrates an IQ. So they're a little bit maybe less worried. Like they certainly want D1 Big Ten level skills, but if you're on the lower end, they would rather make that up with IQ than not.
Well, so
I think you're Antoine Simmons, right? Like,
sure,
is a classic example of someone who was undersized for the position, but was a great linebacker here.
Yep. Well, this ties into G's second question, which is how viable do you think the current recruiting strategy is that is pulling in lower D1 and D2 prospects?
Oh, as it relates to uh, transfers, I
Yes.
actually we gave a lot of shit about Josh Eaton, who was at Texas State. That's Big 12 now, Texas State.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't think he's looked terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm fine. I'm fine with their current strategy of getting proven winners at a level and transferring up.
Yeah.
Next up is who from G is who's the first star to leave for the portal, Plum?
God.
Do you? Well, I guess let me rephrase the question for you, Plum. How much do you believe
Yep.
that the culture has actually changed at Michigan State?
Well, this is the thing I don't know because they won't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to hear. This is a great I didn't know clue about this tidbit. Lindgren saying something like, no, we're actually we are recruiting on also intellectual capacity, like game knowledge. And like maybe that's self-evident, maybe other people do that too. I don't know. But that's like the first time I've ever heard that. You guys talked last week with Dante Rosano about coach speak, team speak, fucking press conference speak, and I think we would benefit from a little bit more culture insight. So my hope is, my thinking is that there is something to be gained for it. I mean, the truth is,
Watching him not give up is culture, right?
that's my point. Smith is not flashy. He's not out there in any flashy way. He is just, I mean, my God, he's not a Midwestern guy, but he looks fucking like it. He acts like it.
Yeah.
He's just a shows up and does the job thing. And I think that's what he wants out of this program. And I think that's what he's building. And so I don't. Big stars leaving, I don't see it. I don't think. I mean, I think something big would have to happen for that to be the case. You could get a guy like, I might say, Tout Oliver, someone who's probably, and I wouldn't call him a star by any means, but the reason I say him is, he's the kind of guy that I don't think is, I mean, apart from some contextual realities leading him in, he would not be probably not a position starter generally because he's probably not quite good enough, but you might see more of him as the season goes on, depending on, depth that we have to pull from. He's the kind of guy that might say, I could go start if I played for,
I don't even know if he has a season left.
Well, so then that's that's the better point. A lot of the guys that we have who would otherwise be stars don't have a tremendous amount of time left. This is it for them. So yeah, it's an interesting question. Okay, next up, Jordan Villarreal. When can we say Rossi is on the hot seat?
Talk to me after the season. Right. I'm not ready to be there yet. Maybe my mind changes this season, but I have a tough time on that one.
Yep.
Next up, from Jordan, was it the late night, or did it seem like those commentators were falling all over themselves to compliment USC?
So I clocked this. RG3, who I generally like to listen to in the broadcast, he does know. No, I think he knows ball. I generally like to listen to him because he's not super flashy, but they had such a fucking hard on for this team, and they couldn't shut the fuck up about it. I just thought, like, come on.
He does point out, Jordan, says, if I had to hear one more thing about how brilliant Lincoln Riley is, or how their players, quote, had our playbook, I was going to vomit. I just want to say that I remember that comment about him saying they had our playbook, and I said, too soon, bro. Yeah. Because it was not that long ago. This one did have our playbook.
It just goes to show, I mean, that's just poor prep. And
because RG3 sucks. You were wrong. Like, that is among your worst takes.
Okay. Happy to be wrong. The thing I like to listen to when it's on the broadcast is the tempo of their comments. Generally, is it insightful? Is it telling me something I wasn't thinking of? And I have been impressed by him before. This is the first time I've listened to him and thought, oh my God, this is just unbalanced. You know what I mean? This is why I listen to Fox News. It's fair and balanced. And I just felt like, give me what Fox News gives me, right? Just an co-equal take on some MSU stuff. And I wasn't getting any of it. So shame on him. And it was great bad.
As always, though.
But it was bad. All right. Joe Ashworth. Hey, Joe. Okay. Well, you know what? I made a pitch on this already. So, Mike, you get the full throated endorsement now. Joe asks, how do we most effectively shame and harass the Big Ten and their media partners about the late kickoff and the obvious impact it has on player health and safety?
I'm kind of with you, Plum, that at some point in time, it's just going to take players saying, I'm
No,
not doing this.
not doing it. Yep.
And I think we stumbled upon the replicated model of pro football that they wouldn't do this.
They would never do it. And by the way, I don't want to put this all on the players.
No, because they shouldn't have to.
They shouldn't have. This is a leadership. This school should have their back. Now, listen, I'm happy for Jonathan Smith to come out and say, listen, guys, I think this is awful. And I want to tell you what I'm willing to do with you, alongside of you, not paternalistically for you, not because I don't think you're good enough, but I want us to have an honest conversation about this. Do you want to do this? Do you think this is best for you or our program? And if you say no, I want you to know what I'm going to do alongside you to show that. So I think this was an utter and fucked up misstep. And I think it's because, again, people are just afraid. I mean, the level of fear that we're seeing, and I won't go into all of the politics of it, but societally wise, preemptive shutting down, people preemptively failing to assert rights, failing to step in with courage and conviction. We just need leadership. We just need honest, humble, but authentic leadership. And so this was a fail.
Next up, Mamopleaf, to each of you, what is a higher priority, walking your dog or getting ready for the podcast? And which effort did you skimp out on today? I'll say it was getting ready for the podcast for me.
Neither, Suze. The dog got a nice long walk, and I came prepared.
And we can say for Greg, both.
God only knows where his poor pooch is.
Walter.
All right, last up from Mamopleaf this week. Only two. Sad. It's bye week, misspelled. So which one of the following gives you that optimistic feel-good feeling, and now you can rest a bit? First, MSU football's showing in the third quarter last night. 2, MSU women's volleyball remaining undefeated. Third, ELDDA, the Downtown Development Authority, finally selling off the long-held Evergreen properties. I have to look those up.
Also, that's how you spell "bye" in Canada.
Is it really?
Yeah. Also, when they say LGBTQ, that's also the B in LGBTQ is just BY.
No,
it's fine with you.
Okay, because I believed you, and I was so upset about it.
I'm
those
going to go
properties.
Women's volleyball because we were high on our supply as it relates to her last hire, and when she got fired suddenly, it is great to see an alumna come back and have things cooking. And we do know that actually is a program that can flirt with revenue neutrality.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's also great.
I will say that for me, the first thing up is the third quarter showing. There were a lot of reasons to be down. I thought the third quarter restored my hope in humanity to an extent. But I love the DDA. If you should look this up, folks, everyone knows this parcel. Everybody knows this parcel. As soon as you see it on a map, you're going to know what we're talking about. And yes, long time. But the reason I'm not super excited about it getting sold off is because every time I'm in East Lansing, I feel like there are more high rises and other things. I recognize it less and less. And, old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Raymond Chains. Michael, I didn't rage quit that football game. Is that progress? It wasn't even that depressing as long as you ignore half a dozen young men seriously injuring themselves.
Raymond, I would just say that I think that was fatigue because I, too, somehow made it all the way through that game. And I think there was a critical juncture that got reached where you just became so tired that you could convince yourself, all right, just one more. And then they just kept doing just enough to keep that game on. Next up, Plum, can you stop sending Raymond random seeds in the mail?
I will not.
That's a Chuck Palahniuk move.
Well, it's castor seeds. I send him castor seeds hoping that he will remove the what's inside the castor seed. Is it arsenic? Is it
Sure. Is that what you get with the oil?
No.
The castor oil?
Well, no, castor seeds include what poison? Sorry, everyone hates that I'm doing all this. It's something bad.
It's definitely worth it.
Ricin. Ricin is what's inside castor beans. So anyway, don't open up the seeds and consume the ricin. I'm just doing it because you need more castor oil in your life.
But do inhale the white powder. That is definitely not anthrax.
Promise. All right, last up from Raymond. Let's ask this question of Grooch and see what he thinks next week. Kevin, as the smart one on the podcast, when will the Spartans next win a game?
Well, guys, I'm gonna not look at the camera for a little bit, and then I'll turn to the camera dramatically to give my bit of an answer. And if you don't laugh at my joke the first time, I'll come in for 5 more times until you finally laugh at it. But I'm gonna go ahead and say next week. Because I'm done with this podcast, and I want to just keep moving through the questions.
There it is. There, asked and answered, Raymond. Hope you like your answer. If not, send those seeds back to Grooch. All right, last up tonight, the Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Michael, would we be better off with Jonathan Smith, Bert Mula, or Lucas Fickle Dickle Trickle Pickle?
Ooh, so it's definitely not Luke Fickle. But Bert has had things humming decently in Illinois. But
except for this weekend.
Yeah, no, and I think it took him a second to get things moving there. Which makes him kind of analogous to Jonathan Smith. And the other thing is, I can't respect Bert Bielema at all. So by default, Jonathan Smith is the answer.
Mm-hmm. I think he has to be too. I don't think either of those. I wouldn't trade in what we've got already. I wouldn't trade those for those two.
Do you think that I'm gonna have to cut that my Greg bit?
No. I think that's got to stay in there.
Okay,
that's good. I think he's gonna like it. I think he's gonna know. I mean, part of the job of showing up to the podcast is that you get to make fun of the one guy who didn't. And I know this because I listen to the things you say about me every week. I'm not here, and since I'm here so irregularly, that I have quite a list of things that I use.
You're Ryan from The Office. You have a notebook of
a full notebook. No, I'm the guy that wears the lipstick. I'm Steve Buscemi's character in Happy Gilmore. Or is it Billy Madison? It's Billy Madison.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's the sharpshooter. Anyway, all right. Last, this is hurtful. Michael, Upper Deck asks, have you broke 100 listeners per podcast yet?
Oh, you
really hurtful son of a bitch.
That is hateful and wrong. But I will say I will take the opportunity to plug. If you've not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, it would be really helpful.
Yeah,
please, and thank you. We know a disproportionate of you jabronis listen to the podcast. I don't understand why we can't get the visual learners. But like, if you could just go ahead and subscribe, that'd be super helpful.
We'd like it.
Yeah. And then, Plum, have you ever measured how far out your ears extend from your head? I'm going to ask you this because it's a hate crime if you ask me.
Yes, it is. Well, yours are noticeable. Mine aren't because I wear the cans. And if he did, he would know.
And I got called Dumbo in 4th grade, so...
Well, my ears are freakishly small. They're much smaller proportionally than they probably should be. And Jason and I were just... Oh, I don't have it up here.
You were measuring ears?
There it was. 3 times the charm. Fucking thing. It's each time I jangle this fucking desk. We had a caricature drawn at a vendor booth at an outdoor festival in Chicago this weekend. Together. And he didn't come for my ears. He didn't. He did get the mole. Where side's the mole on? There it is. He got the mole. And
he didn't come for your ears?
He got my big cheeks. That's what those were. That's what got in my my rectangular eyebrows. Those were what got made fun of. So,
are you in this? Well, that's great. I need to see a copy of that. I thought Greg was in the outline for a second.
No, that would be
anyway. Plum, we will be back next week for the bye week.
Bye week summary.
Maybe,
what will we come
maybe
for?
We'll have someone join us. Maybe not. Who cares?
I like that idea.
But until then,
mm-hmm.
Even at a loss, it's always go green.
Go white.